Alrighty. So good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Severe Weather Response 2025 pre-submittal meeting. My name is Kayla Williams, for those of you who do not yet know, and this presentation is designed to walk you through the RFA structure, timeline, and application requirements. Our goal is to ensure that you feel prepared to submit a strong and complete proposal that supports our community's response to severe weather events in Clark County. So today this meeting is being recorded. If you can and are comfortable, please make sure your camera is on. Attending or reviewing is required. So if you are not able, or you know somebody else in the community who's not able to be here today, that is okay. It will be uploaded on YouTube. But when they submit their signature on our RFA guidance document, they are confirming that they have recorded or have reviewed the recording or attended this meeting in person. There are closed captions available. And please, if you can, put your name and email in the chat if you would like to receive any additional communications from Clark County staff regarding open funding opportunities or to be added to our stakeholder list. You can email me at any time. And we will kick it off. So this severe weather response RFA is focused on strengthening our homeless crisis response system's ability to respond during severe weather events. That includes cold weather, extreme heat, and any condition that increases harm to our unhoused neighbors. There's funding available across 5 different service types, ranging from planning to staffing to direct shelter and supply efforts. Eligible applicants include nonprofits, tribes, local jurisdictions, and public agency. They must be able to comply with reporting and invoicing requirements. And funds must increase existing or planned capacity. We cannot use these funds, if awarded, to replace or supplant any already allocated funds. Applications opened this week on August 11th, and today's meeting is part of the required pre-submittal process. We're also offering 2 optional TA drop-ins. Those are going to be a great space to get your questions answered in real time. So as you're going through your applications, if you have any questions while you're looking through anything, or if you need any clarification, or if you just need help in navigating the bonfire portal, please come to those drop-in hours. But you can always reach out to me as well for any one-on-one TA. Just a note that any questions answered are available to the public and will be published on Bonfire via that public notifications, which you will see in a little bit as well when we walk through the Bonfire webpage. And then the RFA guidance doc is where you're going to find everything you need in the severe weather response system RFA process. It's going to be your complete roadmap for completing the application, and it outlines eligible activities, scoring structures, and the application's format. You're going to use it to determine what categories to apply for, understanding the budget for each fiscal year, and making sure your application meets the system alignment goals. So we're going to walk through a few highlights within the RFA guidance doc, but reviewing the full document before submittal is a requirement, and we will request signatures from it. So I'm going to really quickly stop sharing that and pull down this guidance doc. Let me know when you guys can see that. Good, okay. So this is what it's going to look like for anyone who hasn't had a chance to peek in there yet. The table of contents can take you to all this information here. And then this gives you a really solid overview of the process and what we're looking for in people that are going to come in for this funding. So you'll see that we are asking for projects that strengthen our community's severe weather response for our homeless community. And funding is intended to reduce harm during extreme weather events. Proposals need to increase capacity, and then all funded providers are expected to participate in Clark County's Severe Weather Task Force, provide services when severe weather is activated by our coordinating entity, and coordinate efforts as required by the responsible entity. So You make reasonable efforts to track services and share information that supports our system-wide coordination. And then funding for each fiscal year is here. You'll see that it's not the same for each year because we wanted to build in the opportunity for you to plan for inflation increases or staff increases. So that's why you'll see a difference between the first fiscal year and the next. And then each of the funding categories with their program descriptions are outlined as well with their budgets. So in the first few pages, you'll see that there's a severe weather planning for the overall system coordination efforts, seasonal winter sheltering for staffing supports, severe cold weather response, severe hot weather response, and then severe weather supply distribution. Then it will get into the actual RFA process. So how we publish our available opportunities, how you can access, and the link to the portal. There's no pre-application for this RFA, but the full application is due by Wednesday, September 17th. It's due later in the night because we know that sometimes it's tricky to get these in before the end of a business day, especially if you're, working with a population or with your staff. So that's why it's a little bit later in the day, but just know that questions that you have must be submitted by the 15th of September. That way everybody has access to the information before the deadline. And then this, if you've not submitted, or if you have submitted an application with us before, this is a bit different than previous, but we're going to have you submit your proposal presentations for each individual program type alongside your full applications. And we're not going to do a actual agency presentation. This slide deck is just meant to give the scoring committee a chance to see the bigger picture of what you have for your program. This person in really fast. Okay, awesome. So 7 is the maximum slides for each of your program types. And then we gave you a little bit of information on what we're looking for or what you can share with your scoring board for all the information that they really need to know outside of just the questions that are being answered. So use that as a guide. And then this gets into just some general contract performance and our expectations. The timeline is also in here as well, how to ask technical assistance and questions, and then other requirements of your programs and contracts. So we will require an anti-lobby certification, we'll require a conflict of interest, debarment, e-verify. All of these things are countywide and contract required components. So make sure you review them and attest that you can meet those requirements. And then the grievance process is included as well. So you are welcome to contact me or Michael if you have any questions, or Michael, if you'd like to report a grievance. And then some resources here. So we have the state's homeless housing strategic plan. This is updated and is current. And then we have our Clark County Homeless Action Plan, which is the plan that all agencies responding to homeless response items that we fund, but also countywide operate under. The current plan is out of date, but it is in the process of being developed, and the new plan will launch in December. So keep an eye out, because when that new plan is updated, we will ask that all agencies that are contracted with us review and understand any changes. But you should also have a good understanding of the existing plan in place as well, if you're going to take part in any of our response activities operating with our Clark County funded homeless crisis response system. And then this just gets into an application overview. We're going to go over this in a few slides, so I'm not going to spend too much time there. On page 14, this is really nice. So I recommend you print this out or keep a separate copy, but we built in an application checklist for you guys. That way it's really clear all the required items that you need to submit. All of these items are also required and set up in Bonfire. So that's where you're going to download them from, is in the application portal. But sometimes it's easier to just keep a running list as well, because Bonfire can get a little confusing sometimes. And then these are the individual questions. So I'm not going to spend too much time again, but I do really just want to highlight one important thing, which I'll note again later in the presentation. You're going to submit one questionnaire, no matter how many proposals you have. Each questionnaire has an individual tab for whatever specific program or programs you will be applying for. So the tab number one, the shared core, is the tab that every single agency needs to respond to. And it gathers just your agency level information and assesses your capacity or your history of servicing community wide in this kind of effort. And then each tab 2 through tab 6 is the individual program applications for that specific activity. So you're only going to complete tab 1 plus any tabs that you're actually applying to. Any programs that you are not applying to, it is okay to leave blank. Just pay careful attention that you are filling out the correct tabs before you finalize your submission. And then the next pages go into all of the questions. So you'll see that this is information only. This has 2 points possible, and it'll also break down what we are looking for and what we are, this is the exact same guidance that is going to be given to the scoring committee as well. So everyone is on the same page with how you should answer and what a high versus a low score will be. And this is included for every single individual program type as well. You'll see each page separates out each individual tab. Okay. And then this is where you're going to sign after you view your recording and after you review your full guidance document and hop in Bonfire. Before submitting, you need to certify that you've read and understand everything that's listed here. And then you're also noting that you have viewed the video recording if you're not here today. And we will follow up with you if there's any next steps. And that includes the county staff will review your applications in Bonfire to make sure that they're complete. That way we have an opportunity to reach out to you for anything that maybe was uploaded blank, say, for example, before it gets to the scoring committee. So the county staff will just be doing that last technical check. And then I believe the last day for that is the 18th. But it is on the timeline. So I will reach out if there's any concerns that I have with your application. Other than that, once it's closed, and it will move forward for review from our scoring committee. Move that back up. And then okay. And everyone can see the presentation again, yeah? So we're going to move on to, oh, it's frozen for me on my screen. Give me just a minute. Sorry, guys. It looks like it's frozen on my screen over here. So we will try. There we go. All right. So going into submitting your application, to view your application, you are going to go into Bonfire, and Bonfire is an online grant management system that will be used for application submission, scoring, and awarding. I believe they're in the process of transitioning into like ENU creations, or Michael, I might be pronouncing that off, but they're in some kind of transition where they're renaming Bonfire. And it just hasn't been fully executed yet. So if you do see like an email, an ENU procurement, or a different kind of a name, that is in connection with Bonfire. And it's possible that while we're going through applications, they could make some more changes to how they're formatting the online webpage design. But so far, nothing has been super impactful to our process, and we don't anticipate anything not being able to be managed in the same way, regardless of their transition right now. So you can access the application portal through our website or through the link here. On the procurement portal homepage, you're going to see both all the opportunities that we have available countywide for for the departments that use Bonfire. Find the one that is specific for the severe weather response RFA. And you don't need to sign up for Bonfire to view the opportunity, but you do need to register or log in to view and download and submit any documents. Once you log in to the application portal, you're going to see project details and a list of supporting documentation for the RFA. Under supporting documentation, you're going to be able to download any of the required or reference documents to help complete your application. And be sure to look here for any of the required forms or templates. These should match all of your checklist items that are in your RFA guidance document. If you notice that anything is missing, please let me know. I do know right now that we still need to upload the budget templates. So my plan is to confirm with my fiscal team today to make sure that the finalized budget template is ready to be uploaded, and I should be able to get that into Bonfire by the end of today. And then you're also going to see a requested information section, which lists all of the required application components. The biggest pieces are the questionnaire and all the required documents that you'll see highlighted in that bold green under your portal. Make sure to give yourself plenty of time to fill out your questionnaires. These are pretty short and straightforward because of the nature of what we're doing and how soon we have to score and get contracts executed. So it's not as long as, say, like the homeless crisis response system questions will be, but they are relevant and very important to take your time. There is a word count there as well for you guys this time of a maximum. So we're hoping that that guidance will help make sure everybody's responses are kind of aligned. And then if you have questions while you're going through the questionnaires, or if you notice anything that's wrong with the formatting or any concerns when you download any of the forms, just reach out to me and let me know, and we can get that remedied right away. The full application is going to be submitted through the Bonfire portal, and there's submission instructions included in the Bonfire portal as well. And then all communications should go through Bonfire. I'm not too particular about this. I have no problem if you're struggling asking through the Bonfire portal. It is my preference that you do it through the Bonfire portal. But if you are not able to, or if it's easier for you to shoot me an email or give me a call, I'm fine answering questions that way. But just know that they will be written down and they will be shared publicly through the Bonfire portal. I'll just do that manually after our conversation. And then there's also Bonfire technical assistance for applicants. They call you vendors. See the question mark at the bottom left of your screen to get access to that information. I will be honest, when it comes to Bonfire, I am not as savvy as when it comes to answering your questions about the actual process of or design of our response items. I will do my best if you have a Bonfire specific issue, but I definitely recommend trying to find your answer through the TA portal first before reaching out to me, because I can't make any guarantee that I'm going to be able to figure it out any faster than you might be able to figure it out on your own through the Bonfire supports available. So just a note there. And then we're going to get into some of those specific application components for you guys next. Before I move on, does anybody have any questions about Bonfire specifically? Okay. So again, like I noted, you're going to submit one application, which includes the shared core questionnaire, which everyone will complete, and then up to 5 program specific tabs. Those are tabs 2 to 6. A budget table for each proposal. So each of the program tabs you're filling out should have a budget for them. So if you're only completing tabs 2 and 4, then you would need 2 budget proposals for each of those service activities. You're also going to do a slide deck for each presentation, or a slide deck presentation for each proposal. Again, you're not going to be presenting those. Those are just for us to be able to flip through and get a better sense of what you're proposing outside of just some questions being answered in the questionnaire. And then also you're going to have all your required form certifications and everything. Bonfire will flag. So if you try to submit your application and there's something required that's missing, Bonfire is going to flag that for you. So there is a safeguard there. And you're going to be able to download everything. Also, if anything changes, if any forms, we're not going to change any forms on you without you getting explicitly notified. So you won't have to worry about confirming and going in and making sure there's any no changes before you submit. And then for scoring structure, shared core is worth 4 points, and it just goes over the experience, coordination, and program background. And then each program type, so each tab 2 through 6 is worth 8 points each. Your scores are not going to be based on the accumulation of everything. Your scores are going to be based on each individual program being scored against the other individual program applications. And so your total score is going to be out of 12. Every individual program is 8 points, and then whatever score you got on shared core is going to be added on to each of your individual program scores to make each individual program have a score blank out of 12. And then again, questions, use that public Q&A and Bonfire. You can email me, and deadline to submit questions is September 15th. So 2 days before your applications are fully due is the deadline to submit questions. And again, that is just so we can push out those questions for everybody who's submitting. That way everyone gets the same information through this process. And then some tips. So keep your answers concise and aligned to the scoring guidance, and use your slide decks to visually show impact and system coordination. And next steps, review your recording if you're not present, begin preparing your applications, reach out for TA if it's needed, and make sure to stay aligned to our system goals. We're increasing capacity, we're supporting homeless crisis response system coordination, and we're reducing harm. Deadline to submit your applications, 11:30 on September 17th. And then again, a reminder for questions. So please get your questions in soon, get them in before that deadline. We cannot answer questions, and I cannot offer any additional technical assistance after September 15th. So just make sure we're not waiting until the last minute. That way, if you do need help, we have the opportunity to help you through everything. And that is all I have for you guys. But I do want to open it up because for any questions you guys have while we're here in this space, or any clarifications anyone has about any of the service types we are asking for proposals for.
Hi, Kayla, it's Chris. Can you hear me fine?
I can.
Perfect. I joined late. Sorry. You'll share this recording out?
Yep. I'm going to make sure it gets converted and posted onto YouTube, and then we will send it out to you guys.
Perfect. And you said applications are due 11:30?
They're due September 17th at 11:30 p.m.
Okay, September. And then when's the expected notification date for awards? Do you have any idea?
That should be, let me pull up my timeline really fast. The full applications are due 11:30, September 17th. Staff are going to review on the 18th to request for any technical corrections. And then September 22nd, the scoring committee will be provided applications. Project scores will be due, and awards will be identified in early October. And we'll get county council approval on October 21st. So November 1st is the goal for starting programs.
Beautiful. Thank you.
And I do also want to know as well, be mindful of the timeline for the contract period. So we are doing a contract period that's within the fiscal year. So this first year of contracts should be less than next year. for the actual like response that's occurring, because our fiscal year ends June 30, which means that your summer efforts won't be fully underway for severe hot weather. You can absolutely like get and prep your supplies and everything, but the bulk next year will be the first year that you do your full year of there's a winter and there's summer response within one contract year period. This year, obviously, we weren't able to get to this RFA earlier to be able to do that for this summer and the extreme heat. So this response effort will be mostly covering winter or other severe weather that pops up. And if we do have some extreme heat, before July 1st, then it could cover that bit, but it would probably just be a preparation and a setup for going into. So just think about that when you're assessing your budgets. The other thing is there's not a limit on the amount you can request in each category. But you guys also know you guys work with each other, especially in the capacity for responding to weather events. So with the idea of it being an expansion, also note that these funds are not permanent and they're not guaranteed past this funding period. So we just need to make sure that you're being mindful in the approach for how you are submitting your applications and determining your funding in a way that's going to be helpful and supportive of our whole system and the goals of this application. So it could be that if we see your proposals come through, or if you have questions for me too, and you want to talk through what appropriate responses that have been in the community elsewhere for expansions, let me know and we can do some research and we can talk about what that could look like. And I see Kim has a question.
I do. Good morning. My question is around, weather response and planning. Specifically, what sorts of services does this take into consideration? So I can align my business.
So, yeah, no worries. So for planning, that is going to be a high level system coordination effort. So it supports the overall system coordination and readiness. It focuses on strengthening planning efforts across the homeless crisis response system. It ensures timely, organized responses during activation periods. That responsibility currently falls under Council for the Homeless for orchestrating, but we are RFAing for it now, and I believe they may be coming in for as a part of the application as well. But the foundation of what that looks like has been created, and eligible activities include like developing and maintaining local severe weather protocols and activation thresholds, coordinating with jurisdictions, providers, and emergency managers, convening the severe weather task force, facilitating seasonal after action reviews, and then managing timely and accessible public communication and activations.
Okay. And then as far as response, that's the whole coordinate.
Oh, yep. So for the actual response, it just depends on which service response you're looking at doing. So if you're looking for like severe cold weather response or severe hot weather response, then those are direct response activities that are occurring when they're activated during the whoever is determined to be the responsible entity for coordinating. When they activate severe weather, that's when the response contracts will be able to activate. So it can be shelter expansion, that could be severe weather response focused outreach, transport, emergency services, any activity that aligns with the county's activation criteria and is coordinated with the coordinated entity is allowable, and that can include like pop-up shelters or warming spaces, deploying your outreach teams, providing transportation between shelters or warming or cooling sites, and distributing of supplies during cold weather.
Okay, so actual like boots on the ground things.
Yep, boots on the ground.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, of course. And then there's also the severe weather supplies category, which is specific for funding like a centralized purchase and distribution of emergency supplies. So the distribution needs to be coordinated with outreach providers and shelters and other response teams that are identified to be operating in this capacity to ensure that we're standardizing our approach and avoiding duplication. But that includes just buying things like thermal gear and blankets and summer supplies like water and sunscreen, electrolyte packages, and then also costs associated with supply storage and distribution logistics.
Awesome. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? I see Chris unmuted.
Yeah. Did you share what the total pot is supposed to be for this? You said it had increased.
It's about 800,000, but the exact amounts are listed in that guidance document for each independent category. So for severe weather planning, it's approximately 300,000. For severe weather sheltering staffing supports, it's approximately 200,000. Cold weather response about 150. Hot weather response about 100,000, and then severe weather supplies about 50,000.
Okay.
And that's for that 2-year period.
So this is a 2-year contract or a 1 year? I thought it was 1 year.
It's a 2-year contract. So it starts November 1 and it's going to jump into our fiscal calendar. So it'll go November 1 to June 30. And then the next year will start July 1st to June 30. So this year, the budgets are set up in a way in which you would be able to fully, fund efforts for a full year. But I would expect proposals to be less than in this first year than the second year because of the fact that we don't have summer response included in this year.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's 800-ish.
Sorry, Chris, you cut out. But yeah, it's 800-ish for the entirety of 2 years spread out throughout these 5 categories. Any other questions? Oh. Chris, you're cutting out a lot for me. Michael, do you want to add anything as well?
No, not really. I mean, I wouldn't focus so much on what's the total amount available across all categories, because there shouldn't be, like if an organization would be crazy to apply to all the categories, right? Just because we're asking for a full different types of activities. Look at what the activity or activities you're planning on doing, and structure your budget accordingly, within that activity, independently. So, just, that's one thing. Staff are here to help, but ultimately the responsibility to making sure that you have a complete and good application is the responsibility of each applicant. We not only is it not staff responsibility, but we are not allowed to improve the quality of your proposal, right? So like if you submit something and we're like, well, if you tweaked it this way and this, like in these 3 ways, it would be a better proposal functionally. That's like, we're not allowed to do that. And we will definitely flag and reach out and try to make sure, like if we see that you uploaded a document that is required and it was blank, if we have time to do that, within, when we're doing our review and stuff like that, we will definitely reach out and do our best to let you know. And it's each organization's responsibility to make sure you submit a complete and correct application. So, if it isn't, ultimately that's going to be, your organization's, responsibility. absolutely, you don't need to, as Kayla said, tab 1, the information that all organizations submit, fill out all those questions. For each other tab, each category that you respond to, answer all questions. Like it's, again, you want to submit a complete application. So you don't want to have your application disqualified because you submitted an incomplete application by either skipping required documents or skipping questions within the category that you're applying to. And I hope that makes sense. That's really about it. I mean, Kayla, is there anything I didn't say that you can think of?
No, but you did remind me of something as well. With the expansion of what we're asking for, we understand that some of your agencies or some agencies out there could have had in operation previous, maybe last year, a severe weather response activity that they funded that they no longer have funding for in this next year. That would be appropriate to come in and try to like restart or expand in that way, as long as that baseline infrastructure is there, is kind of already built. Because of the nature of this being an emergency response, what we want to avoid is brand new programs who need a lot of time to build up and technical assistance coming in, because we don't have time, especially starting so late, right? November 1st is kind of when we need people ready to go. So you're going to see that question in there, like, is your team ready to go by November 1 if like that severe weather activation starts on that day? Because it's really important to us and to the community that we are going to put these funds into the spaces that they can get out quickly, effectively, and appropriately. So outside of that, I do think that's all I have for you guys, but you're welcome to reach out to me at any point in time. And yeah, go ahead, Kim.
Well, I promise this is my last couple of questions. So I'm reading through, tab 2, and I just want to clarify the planning role, your agency is the proposed plan that our services can provide, right?
I'm sorry. Re-ask your question.
Yeah, like in tab 2, in 2.2.2, describe the planning role your agency will take on. So planning role is equivalent to the solution that we are proposing, correct?
Correct. So the planning role is going to be all encompassing. So that tab 2 is the highest level of a program that's being solicited for this response effort. So it is the overall how you're going to coordinate with all the rest of the system and how you're going to create and plan for severe weather response throughout Clark County.
Okay. And my last question is this: how are you currently monitoring forecast or weather conditions today?
That is a good question for Council for the Homeless. Go ahead, Michael.
No, I mean, that's yeah, you can talk to Council for Homeless on how they do it. This is a solicitation for services and planning activities. It's not a solicitation of a supply or a product kind of thing. So just bear that in mind as you look at the categories and develop your proposal.
Okay. So this is not an RFA for a software solution.
Correct.
Correct. Okay. Yeah, we're not soliciting a product. This is a solicitation of services and components, all components associated to those services that includes planning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will also say, and something that we've shared in prior RFAs, is there's nothing stopping two entities from coming in on a shared application together. One would need to take the lead and be the one that like has that role in contracting and everything. But you could share like a specific collaboration that may enhance your likelihood of being funded or your perception of like your structure for the scoring board to review, which could strengthen your proposal. So something that just to think about if you are interested in being a part of the process, but maybe not being like that main key component, reaching out to who else you think might apply and see if there's any room for collaborations there or development there. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions, I will cut y'all loose and I will hopefully hear and see some of your applications coming in soon.
Thank you.
Kayla.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, stop recording.